Welcome everyone to another night, late at night. Overnighting in the office like Elon Musk, because obviously production issues here with the Linux kernel, GNU Awk of all things. And just another example of, remember on my more main channel there, this other YouTuber frightened of perfect code stuff. And perfect code is a good thing, right? Perfect code is what we want. Obviously, bug-free code and working code, right? Because to my surprise, probably you are as surprised as me, or maybe not, depending if you're a recurring subscriber here or subscribed already. You build the latest and greatest stuff, and the only constant is change and regressions, right? Of course, GNU Awk of all things fails here, or in other words, the Linux kernel. As you see here, the actual error, this is already with some upstream fix, which makes it differently worse. The original error, so I can show you that. So this is with the patch GNU Awk, which also doesn't build. And also, yeah, 2022, of course, you need some GNU Awk implementation to build a freaking Linux kernel to generate here some libinet stuff. And so what originally fails, before I patch this here differently, so the original build error there is GNU Awk. So 2022 GNU Awk in version 5.2 now crashing. Like for 20 years I never had an issue, but 2022 the only constant is change and regressions free here from glibc. So this is glibc aborting him with double free detected in tcache2 there in Linux kernel RegEx86 build. So neither the Linux kernel, naturally, of course, I thought it's a new compiler or my optimizations, because of course I built here our T2, just draw everything from scratch, Linux and stuff, with the latest and greatest optimizations. So naturally I wasted like literally 2 hours building around, debugging around with this, with GDB, with Valgrind, with RR, trying to figure out. And unfortunately, it would have been faster if there would not be some stupid symlink trickery. I was even wondering when I was debugging why it doesn't have the debug symbols as I intended and stuff. So I manually fixed here some links. I need to look into this. Apparently when you rebuild GNU Awk, you might end up there with some symlinks that not point to the... So basically I was for like 1 hour debugging the wrong binary because I didn't realize there was... Yeah, also I probably changed GNU Awk not to install this bloody version thing. But anyway, so what is the issue? And obviously I can't release a Linux distribution, or I can't even use my own Linux distribution if I can't rebuild the kernel. So that happens when you rebuild. Also, it's a crazy software complexity, right? For the last 2 days I built lots of KDE stuff, lots of GNOME stuff, everything freaking builds, but the freaking, except the freaking Linux kernel, right? So, and other people already submitted a patch here. Other people, you find this even, also this double free, of course, you filled multiple times, but also discussed a Gentoo, right? If you're wondering why GNU Awk 5.2 is not marked, is still masked. In Gentoo, it's like double free detecting tcache2 and inet table C. It's like, yeah. Also, their solve is downgrade. It's like, yeah, forum solved is like, yeah, downgraded to GNU Awk 5.1. It's like, yeah, amazing solved. But someone, I'm not sure, I didn't compare all the names, but someone submitted that to their mailing list here, even with a reduced test case. And so the crazy stuff, I mean, the whole story as it is already stupid enough, right? That in 2022, volunteer open source developers who already spent half their life and nights in the office or in the basement and attic to integrate and debug all the stuff and test it and fix regressions and figure out what's actually freaking wrong. So someone, maybe from Gentoo, I don't know, name is not there, but doesn't, yeah, whatever. Could be SUSE, could be Red Hat, maybe Gentoo. Even took the time to reduce it. That is what all developers love, right? If you send something to me, of course, distilled test cases are amazing, lifesaver, because what that means is instead of whatever the Linux kernel is doing there might be huge, distilling that down. Also, such a simple GNU Awk test case, right? You would think after 20, if not 30 years of GNU, Free Software Foundation, Unix clone innovation, this shit might work, but of course they changed it so much that it's broken. So distilled test case, super amazing stuff, and even a patch, right? So I think they even sent a patch here. So of course, reinventing the wheel. They have their own custom interpreter and virtual machine stuff and sandbox and so on. So where was the patch? Patch is missing somewhere there. So the patch is a one-liner of this line here of unref. Also, yeah, 2022 manual in your scripting language, C-based memory management and stuff. Where's even freaking the patch? Why do I not see the patch here? Oh, there's even Gentoo. So maybe they're from Gentoo. Anyway, here probably. So that is a patch, and so probably submitted from Gentoo. Amazing stuff. Thanks for that. And so of course manual memory reference counting, because C, the glorified portable macro assembler preprocessor, that totally got that. So this tiny patch actually works for me, but then so the maintainers like, yeah, thanks for that, I'm going to test it. And then somewhere there they wrote wherever that was, is it, or maybe that one, here. So although suggested patch fixes the bug, and I even committed it to Git, it did not solve the problem as seen from a later bug report. I reverted it, but not the test case, and have used the patch attached to the email. So now they use this patch here, right? So of course I did the extra time and effort and rebuild with this patch here. Amazing stuff, right? And lo and behold, it doesn't even freaking work, right? It might, so, and the original submitter, I guess, maybe Emmanuel Attila. See what I mean? Got it. Can confirm attach patch makes both errors go away. Thanks, much appreciated. Yeah, it might make those two errors go away, like this test case, but it doesn't fix the Linux kernel. Now the Linux kernel fails differently, so this patch does not fix, and that is of course the drawback, or needs to double check with reduced test cases, because yeah, it might fix the reduced test case, but not the actual problem as in the Linux kernel Awk script here. Because now, so what this does is they generate code there, and so now they get here GNU Awk code that doesn't output this pre-processed C source code that it's supposed to pre-process, right? So now I need to, and this is a crazy thing, right? Software is so complex, and well, good old-fashioned Unix stuff like Awk and C, so complex. Multiple people work on this issue, and it's fixed. It's not fixing the official fix in GNU Awk, which of course I didn't make a release because of course it's not mission critical. Who cares if GNU Awk 5.2 is stable enough to even run the Linux kernel build script? It's like facepalm midnight. And yeah, so basically now after spending 2 hours with this shit and testing these patches, and as much as I appreciate these patches are there, but also GNU Awk was working for me. I didn't ask for people to break GNU Awk, right? This is a recurring theme, changing for the sake of changes, and the only constant are regressions. I can show you this, so you've seen this here, so then let's probably delete that one and move my initial thing over there. That is the initial travel one. I guess we want to commit this because currently in T2 trunk you can't build your Linux kernel. Then we need to rebuild GNU Awk, and then we can rebuild the Linux kernel. But this is a recurring reminder why I started this YouTube channel, right? For 20 years I see stuff like that, and then other newcomers of junior programmers on YouTube tell you they fear perfect code. It's like, you know what, perfect code is my biggest dream, and I have two, if you're wondering, in the previous video there on my channel. Every programmer, in this video I should actually go further, and do I even have freaking tea left? No, freaking tea is empty. Great time to turn to the whiskey. I should actually go further and say perfect code. I probably said this in this other video. I can't remember all the details I say in each video, but I would say that perfect code should be the end goal and also actually the goal of every programmer, right? Your goal should not be to write garbage code, or like peak bugs like Apple and Microsoft and stuff, and Oracle also I hear. Your goal should be to write perfect code, and everything less than that will have bugs. And you could argue, at least I would say, bug-free code, and after bug-free comes also performant and stuff code. Of course, there are different level of perfections. Just bug-free, also performant, and maybe easy to use and stuff. And yeah, you see, we already passed this GNU Awk stuff. So this is, if you're wondering, how I, for 20 years, since 1998-ish, it's even freaking, it's soon, for soon 25 freaking years, freaking getting old, man. Yeah, and this is just disappointing, and I really don't understand. This is not like small hobby projects. This is FSF, Free Software Foundation, GNU Awk. You would expect, sure, you can argue they didn't have a test case for that and stuff, but I would also argue such high profile stuff, especially with this GNU stuff, they should at least use it to build something. I mean, running the test suite, sure, is always one thing, but like, yeah, maybe like first run your test suite, and second build a Linux kernel or stuff, and third maybe use our T2 build environment to build everything, to rebuild world and see how much freaking breaks TM, because stuff constantly breaks TM. Yeah, it's sort of, I mean, it's much wasted time. It is a relief that it's not our latest compiler and optimizations and like fast and mixing that with our smart profile stuff and so on. But I mean, I say it often enough. Not only do I want safer languages in C for 20 years already, and the microkernel and stuff, but we're getting there. Now that hopefully soon the last freaking major bugs. The crazy thing is, my to-do grew already. Just testing my own stuff, installing my own Linux distribution on my. Each time I freaking sort my office too much. Each time my wife comes here, says, "Oh my God, how does the office look like?" Hey, it's a freaking IT office. I'm shit around here. But yeah, we're not a paid advertisement. Setting up my new portable rotary SSD there to use next for the next 7 years or so to come, and yeah, making sure it's of course a difference of installing, like, do my due diligence and installing T2 on like some of my 24 or so 26 architectures, like booting a PowerPC, booting a Spark, booting a Hewlett HPPA, installing it. Just installing T2 is of course the easy thing, but then actually rebuilding building all the stuff, like emerging additionally the KDE and GNOME and stuff, and rebuilding the freaking Linux kernel, which, by the way, did I put this, and also this is also, I even put here GNU Awk. Earlier we found this PyG object. So yeah, this is just like, actually, by the way, KDE doc, I think I patched, at least I'm making some freaking progress. And actually, I think I packaged that, right? Yeah, we packaged that. And have we packaged that? So we packaged it crudely, and it wasn't pretty, but I can't I can't hot fix patch everything perfectly pretty. There is a limit of how many night shifts I do here. And it's a crazy one, right? I mean, we fixed some issues here already, but we still have a dozen of new ones. Yeah, you probably want to share, like, and subscribe and stuff. It's also a heads up, right? Why is stuff sometimes masked and not used as a new solution? Why in T2 we build something, stuff doesn't work? It's like, yeah, people break it, right? Someone else broke it. Building, yeah. Anyway, in similar, I also noticed that GMP. I initially thought like maybe it might be GMP related, because GNU Awk also uses GMP. Also surprised that such a major project. I really wonder that such major projects like this GMP lab also didn't have a release for nearly 2 years or something. and something that, as I understand, right, maybe we also should translate to all the HTTP downloads. Someone, maybe Dash or so, already posted on our Discord. Yeah, 20 years, soon 2 years. It's like 1.5 years. Okay, previously they also had like 4 years. But you would think something used, I guess, used by GCC as far as I remember, and GNU Awk, certainly R. Could actually check that. So GMP probably used a ton of stuff. Is this FFmpeg real? I don't know, but okay, maybe GDB, potentially GNU PG2 if that is real. Why is GCC not in there? Is it using this through? Just thought GCC would be using it, or doesn't matter too much anyway. And I didn't emerge R, probably I should. Yeah, so with that it builds. That's basically it for this night shift. So I can crawl back to my office sofa and hope my cold is over tomorrow. Babysit my 2-year-old again. Yeah, it is crazy times. Alright, we can commit this. So yeah, probably I should take the extra time to notify Upstream that is still broken. Or at least, well, 2 test cases, 2 new other test cases might be fixed, but not the Linux kernel build. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Welcome everyone in this time zone, unusual time. If you're new to this channel, we built your Linux distribution, right? And otherwise on the main channel also test some tech stuff. And otherwise, I see the usual people are here. Yeah, please share P3 patches. Someone says, when I hate Linux so much. Why do you think I hate Linux so much? But writing in microkernel is on my to-do list. But this is not Linux as it. I run a Linux distribution, right? T2. I'm not sure what you mean. For someone who puts half of its lifetime running a Linux distribution, even open source, without give me all the money there, like others from IBM and stuff, and Oracle. Not sure why you say I hate Linux. I just hate lots of stuff after 30 years is just run not the most professional. And although sure these are volunteers, but you can also not say all of volunteers if this is a Free Software Foundation flagship project. You could say I hate C though, although I master C very well. One of the people who is pretty C knowledgeable, but this is also why I wouldn't use it actually for anything, because I have better things to do than debug double free and use after free and stuff. But yeah, microkernel next, now that T2 is in the best shape since 15 years. Also, you don't see this, I'm aware of that. I have a 10 by 16 by 10 display, so hot fixed GNU Awk double free as triggered by the Linux kernel. There we have that, of all the things I didn't expect. And the crazy thing is, I said this already 20 years ago, they broke GNU find utils in a way that we have a relatively complex, at that time Rocket Linux and RT2, find without CVS, very special stuff and so on. Relatively long, like maybe, I don't know, 10 or so predicates or stuff. And so is this once deleted most of my sources, right? Because this X file was this file was run to delete stuff, and so I had like tons of stuff of my files and sources deleted 20 years ago because GNU find update broke this find logic. You would really of like complex find type and or and group and everything you can probably maybe you're not even aware that you can do pretty complex find expressions here. Maybe if you have a sleepless night, you want to read the man page. But so yeah, it's crazy, and that fixes are not fixing it. It's yeah, what should I say? It's what it is. If they make it any better, you couldn't afford it anymore. Anyway, Dash says it's common for GNU tools. Barley get any formal version for years. Yeah, it was super crazy for bin utils. I remember the times when we always had to at RegEx times. There were like 4 bin utils for 2, 3, 4 years, no release of stuff, and everyone were using the source there or whatever, code sorcery, CVS snapshot things. So and yeah. So that's basically it for tonight. Also, Alfredo says, want to things work with not to be broken. And yeah, that's a crazy thing. These are like primary components, right? It's not like some Joe's image converter or on Tilly's PHP plugin or stuff. This is like the basic building blocks, the foundation of what you would otherwise call as an operating system, of the kernel and the surrounding user space components and something. And they have a freaking sandbox in there. Do they even have, in the meantime, JIT stuff in there? I wouldn't be surprised if they have, in the meantime, JIT stuff in there. At least they have a sandbox in there. Why does it not show in? I just deleted. Oh, we have handily for my test building stuff. This is not really. Do they not JIT this yet? Or maybe I misremembered that. Ah, right. I think PCRE2 has a JIT. Do they also have a sandbox already for regular expressions? Wouldn't surprise me either. Also best was a typo. Okay, that builds this. Do I have a log of that or? Yeah, I'm not making this stuff up. If you didn't know that, actually, seeing that here, I wonder if we want to enable JIT though. Is that what are we building that? Maybe another win-win late at night here for configure. So probably I wonder what it needs. Only enable JIT, and for what architecture that works. I think I saw some warning, but it's also 2022, and also grep can use that, right? I think optionally the GNU grep, which also you would never have thought 10 years ago that like the GNU grep regular expression engine would use in an external library, but fast forward some years and here we are. I wonder, we will see how much this breaks. I have the feeling this will not work for all architectures. Let's see if it builds, or I'm just guessing that. Dash asks, why do you need JIT for regular expression? Well, for performance, right? Performance, more performance. The only substitute for performance is more performance. And if you process tons of data, even grep over, I mean, even otherwise it's like bytecode, otherwise it's like an interpreter. And so, okay, this is that here. So now we have JIT. Maybe we should quickly check. So yeah, I mean, if you have one regular expression of matching, like only one match, like some matching foo to bar or name to first name, last name and stuff, then of course JIT doesn't matter. But if you have one regular expression and then especially complex one, I mean, if you grab ABC, but even that could be micro optimized to a mem compare, right, or string compare. But yeah, if you grab megabytes and gigabytes and terabytes, and like magnitudes of performance certainly can add up. But security obviously the downside of performance is security, so I can see why this is at times not enabled. But anyway, let's last. Oh, by the way, so here, let's first double check that before I commit this. Pro tip: double review your stuff before I commit it. So that would be PCRE, and let's try to determine for how many. Okay, they have here ARM, PowerPC, so they have a couple. Even Spark, I wonder if there's a question also, does it work stable and stuff? But obviously not all, so they have their own maybe mini JIT. Let's maybe take a look at stacklist just-in-time compiler from freemail.edu. Yeah, it's a little bit too open-coded for my taste, and yeah. I wonder if they have JIT like auto or something, so that apparently not. Oh wait, here is auto enable hardware supports it. So why did it not? Ah no, it has auto. Excuse me. Didn't make up that I have a cold. Actually, the cold was so bad that I thought it might be COVID, but thankfully the test is negative. Said this already previously. And we didn't want that our 2-year-old gets COVID. This is why I sit here in the office. So, save auto, then let's use it. Let's test that again. That's, by the way, the outcome of double checking stuff before I committed, right? If I would have committed this, I would have broken all non-mainstream architectures, and double checking certainly. This nice auto find here, certainly helpful for not having to manually copy and paste all the list of architectures and manually switch case Z. Wait, was it? Yeah, yes. Let's see how well this breaks. I mean, theoretically, we could even stylize it like enable JIT for PCRE2 unsupported stuff. It's really good enough. So another tiny win-win of all the attention to detail and stuff. So next Linux release, you get more performance. With that, I hope you learned something and enjoyed this. Let's take a last look there. If you're new to this channel, there is free membership, free subscription, memberships, GitHub, sponsors or Patreon and stuff. Otherwise, T2 website here. Obviously, would rather spend time coding a bootloader, intro, demo, critiques, take results on different. Time differently. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Linux distribution, if you code a bootloader, kernel, it doesn't make money, right? At least with my T2 Linux, I made at least some money, not as much as I would hoped, not as much as Amazon or so yet, but at least more than with a demo or other stuff. You don't make money, but and also, I have already a working operating system for 20 years, so that is certainly an added bonus. I have not been at the Linux Plumbers conference, but thanks for asking. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe. Hope you have a good day or night and stay healthy and see you next time.